Hey everyone, welcome to the video. Going to this MLB main slate for and DraftKings, the one that starts at 1 o'clock. Also, by the way, happy Easter as well. But anyway, before we continue, if you could leave a like, subscribe to the channel, I'd really appreciate that. Also, if you're following me on Twitter, at cpen_16, that's with 2 N's. Anyway, let's get into the slate. So I made my cheat sheet for you guys since it's such a big slate, so it's simple things down. And let's start with pitcher. There is one pitcher I like that's not on the sheet, and that's Steven Strasburg. I just don't have him listed because he's so expensive, and I think these guys are a better value. But if you can afford him, he's in an awesome spot versus Miami. They've been striking out 30% of the time this year, and he's in a great pitcher's park as well. I know Max Scherzer really got roughed up versus them yesterday, but you just have to think that's a bad outing, and it happens in baseball. But if you can afford Strasburg, he's the number one play, I think, in terms of projected points. But value-wise, I like these three guys better. So let's talk about these guys now. Chris Archer's my number one today, 8,900. So when you factor in the price, he's my number one. And it would surprise me if he was the number one scoring pitcher as well. The Giants lineup is one of the worst in the league, and we've been picking on them all year, and we're not going to stop now. They have the lowest team ISO on the slate, lowest team walk rate, which is what Chris Archer will struggle with sometimes, is the walks. So that's good for him as well. And it's a good pitcher's park in PNC, so really like Chris Archer today. He's a favorite. It's a very low Vegas total there as well too. Then David Price, 8,300. I think he's going to be the less popular of these three guys, but I really like him today. He's only 8,300. He allows us to get some good bats in, and I just like the price in the park here. And it's going against his old team, so you have some revenge as well. And Tampa's better suited to face righties, so we're going to neutralize guys like Ji-Man Choi and Austin Meadows and Brandon Lowe and those kind of guys. So he's got that going for him. Still going to have to face off versus Tommy Pham and Yandy Diaz, but I think it's a good nice matchup. I know a lot of people played Eduardo Rodriguez versus Tampa, and he was 30% owned. So David Price is a better version of him, I think. So I don't see why we wouldn't like David Price today if we really liked Rodriguez that one day. So big fan of David Price today. And then James Paxton, 9,400. He's gonna be really popular today, I think. It wouldn't surprise me if he's the second highest owned pitcher on the slate, maybe the first. But so we just saw Tanaka bury this lineup yesterday, and Paxton is even better stuff than Tanaka, in my opinion. I think they're both good pitchers, but James Paxton can really rack up the strikeouts, and he should get the win today, I would imagine. He's a big, heavy favorite, so really like James Paxton today if you can afford him. But I really like these first two guys a lot. So at catcher today, it's an ugly position, but Robinson Chirinos leads the way at 3,800. The Astros have a 6.7 implied total today, which is absolutely massive. I think it's the highest I've seen all year. And, it's a good hitter's park, so I'm going to load up on these Astros today. They're going to be really high owned, though, but you got to play them, I think, especially in cash. And then Wellington Castillo, 3,400. There's not really much to say. I just like the righty versus lefty matchup, and he has some power. I believe he has 190 ISO versus a lefty, so I think he's in play. And then Francisco Cervelli, 3,200. He's a prime spot in the batting order, and he's always cheap, so you can't really ask for much more from catcher. So I don't mind if you want to go with Francisco Cervelli. And then first base, we have Jose Abreu at 3,800. He's just way too cheap facing off versus a lefty and Daniel Norris, who gives up a ton of hard contact. And Abreu is a 231 ISO versus lefty, so I think Abreu's in a really good spot here today. Then Ryan McMahon, I think that's how you say it, 4,400. It's Coors Field. He's facing off versus a righty. He struggles versus lefties, so it just makes a lot of sense there. I think all of these Rocky lefties are in a good spot today. And then Nico Goodrum at 3,800. He's much better as a lefty, where he has a 218 ISO, and Lopez is a big fly-ball pitcher, especially to lefties, and Goodrum is batting cleanup. So really like Goodrum today if you need the savings. And at second base, we have Jose Altuve leading the way at 5,300. There's really not much to say here. Just an absolute must if stacking the Astros, and he's been hot. I know it's hard to afford him, but you're not going to miss out on him if you're going to make an Astro stack today. And then Robinson Cano. Always Cano. He's always dirt cheap, and he produces against righties, so let's go back to the well. Hudson is also very bad versus lefties, so I think it's a fantastic matchup, and Cano's probably one of my, I probably played Cano more than any player this year so far. It feels like anyway. It might not be true, but then Josh Harrison, 3,100. He's just dirt cheap, and he's leading off versus a lefty, so 3,100 and leading off, can't ask for much more there. And at third base, Alex Bregman, he's number one by far. Again, just load up your Astros versus Shelby Miller. And then Chris Bryant, 4,000. He gets to face off versus lefty, and Bryant crushes them with a 305 ISO. So I like Chris Bryant. And then Eduardo Escobar, 3,900. He's much better as a lefty. He's a switch hitter. And where he has a 238 ISO, and he has better all-around numbers. And at shortstop, we have Carlos Correa leading the way at 4,600. Again, it's just another Astro versus Shelby Miller. Not going to go in depth there. Then Tim Anderson, 4,800. He's very expensive, but he's been good to start the year, and he's better against lefties. It's tough to spend up on him, though, with Correa being so cheap. But he should be a lot lower owned, I'd imagine. Then Corey Seager at 4,300. I know he hasn't done much lately, but I like the ballpark, and he'll be facing off versus the righty, so it just makes sense to like Seager today. And a high-priced outfield, Charlie Blackmon's leading the way at 5,000. He's finally heating up, and he's homered 2 games in a row, and he had a triple, and he went 4 for 5 last night, so he's really hot. And I still think he's a little too cheap facing off versus the righty in course, so still think there's some good value there. He's probably number 1 playing the slate. Then David Dahl, 4,900, just the same reasons we like Blackmon. Not that he's that hot or anything, but I just love the lefties on the Rockies tonight. And then George Springer at 5,000. Astro versus Shelby Miller, not going to get into that. And then mid-range outfield, Michael Brantley, 4,600. Another Astro, but we get our first lefty versus righty matchup here, so I really like Michael Brantley a lot. It's one of my favorite plays today. And he's batting cleanup, so plenty of RBI opportunity. Doesn't have a ton of power in his bat, but he's a very solid hitter. And Eddie Rosario, 4,900. He double-donged yesterday, and Bundy gives up a ton of power to lefties, so I love the spot here, and he should be lower owned with the guys around him similarly priced. So really like him. He's actually number 1 hitter in my model today, so a lot of things going good for Eddie Rosario. And then Nelson Cruz, another twin who double-donged yesterday. So Bundy gives up a ton of power to both sides of the plate, and I wouldn't be surprised if these guys hit home runs today, because these guys have a lot of power. And then in the value outfield, we have Albert Almora, 3,200. He's dirt cheap and leading up for a lefty, so 3,200. So I think that's a nice value if you need it. And then Curtis Granderson, 3,100. I know it's versus Strasburg, but all you really need is a walk or a hit and a run, and you're golden. So 3,100, that's really cheap. And some of the core plays I have right now, well, it's okay. So I have Archer as my number 1 pitcher. I want him in pretty much all my lineups today. I think he's in an awesome spot. Jose Abreu is really cheap, only 3,800, so I really like his value there. And then Charlie Blackmon, 5,000. I think he's probably the number 1 playing the slate batter-wise. And then Michael Brantley at 4,600. I really like him as well. Just really grades out really well versus Shelby Miller. And then there's no weather today, unlike yesterday or in the day before. We have a really nice weather today. And then if you look right there, the Vegas sheet, it's got the over-unders there and the heavy favorites, what time the games start. And then for the top stacks today, we have the Astros, the Rockies, the Twins, the Tigers, and the Mets lefties. I think the Mets lefties are actually going to be a little sneaky going against Dakota Hudson, so don't mind if you go there. I know I didn't have any of them besides Cano on the cheat sheet, but I don't mind if you want to go there either. Alright guys, I'll show you my model just really quick to show you who I like there. The model really likes Chris Archer is number 1. Again, the numbers just knock down the numbers a lot. I don't know why it's doing that, but just number 1, it has Chris Archer, and then it has Strasburg at 3, and then it's got Paxton a little bit lower, and then David Price a little bit lower, but that's just because Tampa's been hot, and KC's been okay to start the year. But I really like Chris Archer as my number 1 today. And then if we look at hitters, it's got Eddie Rosario number 1. So, and then a couple of these guys have been hot recently, and it really weighs recent games, so that's why Christian Walker and those guys are so high. Christian Yelich too. But yeah, if you want to take a look at this and have just access to view it, I can put that in the comments section, so you guys can take a look at that and see that. And I can do that with the cheat sheet as well if you just want to, because I know you can't see it all at one time on the screen. So I'm going to put those both in the comments below, and you can just take a look at that and click on that. But anyway, like I said, happy Easter, and if you have any questions, feel free to comment below. Remember to leave a like, subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate that, and good luck today.